Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. I'm ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
I have you loud and clear.
Hello, and welcome to the Payload Operations Integration Center. I'm Kathy Byers. I'm one of several Payload Operations Directors whose job it is to manage the day-to-day science operations on board the International Space Station. In the room behind me are several console positions that are critical to those daily science operations. We work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and we've been doing it for 20 years. The students that are asking you questions today are children of the families of you that have contributed to payload operations over the years. We're very excited to be asking you questions today and sharing this opportunity to see what life is like on board the station. So thank you for taking the time today, and this is our first question.
Hi, my name is Jameson, and I'm from Alabama. My question is, what is your favorite thing about living on the space station?
What is my favorite thing? You know, there are so many great things about living on the space station, like our great crew, being able to fly, and the view. But if I had to pick a favorite thing about being on the space station, it's being able to be involved in so many different activities, different science research, spacewalks, and all of the variety of things that we get to do all at the same time. That's my favorite thing.
Hello, my name is Addison Burke. My cousin Ben Barrington is a PACOM with POIC. My question is, can you give me a description of your daily routine?
Oh, that's a really good question. And so they vary, obviously, if we're doing something like getting ready for a spacewalk or moving our spacecraft from one location to another. But on a general day, I wake up actually pretty early. I'm a morning person, and I try to work out my strength exercise and my cardio before we have our morning conference. And then we have a conference to talk about the rest of the day. And then I have maintenance, science, outreach events like these, being able to talk to folks like you, and also to the news and media. And we have lunch in the middle sometime, and then we have another conference at the end of the day where we wrap things up and maybe talk about the next day. And so we're pretty busy up here between those conferences. And then we get time to unwind and then to go to sleep, and they protect our sleep time, which is also very important because we work so hard.
My name is Bryce Newton. I am from Nashville, Tennessee. My aunt is an engineer at NASA. My question is, as an astronaut, what do you recommend I study if I want to explore space or Mars one day?
Bryce, I think that is a great goal, and I think you should study whatever is challenging. That mission to Mars is going to be physically, mentally, and spiritually challenging. So if you like math, then study a foreign language. If you like foreign language, study computer programming. If you like computer programming, then take up literature, because you're going to need every skill that you can muster for that mission to be successful. And also listen to your aunt, who's an engineer at NASA, because she's probably done it successfully.
My name is Andrew Rowland. My mom is a payload rack officer at Marshall Space Flight Center. My question is this: there are people from several countries on the ISS, and each country has different expectations. How do you go about setting the rules for what is and isn't allowed on board?
Oh, that's a really good question. And it actually can get really complicated, so I'll keep it simple by saying, just like there are people who decide what science comes up here and what spacecraft come up here to bring astronauts, cosmonauts, or cargo and science, there are groups like that that manage the expectations for crew members on board. So thankfully, we, the crew, don't have to do it. We agree to it, and we agree to abide by those rules. But there's a group of folks from all of those countries that set those rules that we then enact while we live here on the International Space Station.
Hi, I'm Bo Jones. I'm 5 years old. I'm from Northport, Alabama. My question is, what does it feel like to float inside a space station?
Hi. That is a great question. And you know, how about I just show you instead of trying to describe it? Because it's actually very difficult to describe. But you know, it's actually just like everything else. Because floating on the space station, whether I'm upside down or right side up, it all feels the same to me because there's no gravity pulling my blood down to my head if I was to turn upside down. It actually feels wonderful. It takes you a few days to get used to, but it really feels great. It's like being a superhero for 6 months.
Hi, my name is Noah, and my auntie was a certified Payload Operations Director with PMOD. My question is, how long does it take to get back to Earth?
That is a great question. So from undock, I believe the Soyuz can be back on the ground in about 3 hours. For our undock, our current plan is to do a 7-hour entry, and you know, sometimes after that it may be a 20-hour plus. So it depends on the spacecraft and where the International Space Station is at the time. But it could be as fast as a couple or a few hours.
Hi, my name is Gabriel. How old do you have to be to go to space?
Hi. You know, I don't know if there's a minimum age. I would say you have to be old enough to pass astronaut or cosmonaut candidate training. And so that's the thing I think you would want to focus on, is not so much the age, but the qualifications. And so that generally puts folks at about the 30s before they're able to get to space, at least as NASA astronauts. But you know what? Your generation may very well change that.
My name is Tug Smith. My aunt is Carmen Price. She was one of the first Payload Operation Directors. My question is, how do y'all dispose of your waste?
That is a great question. Waste management is a huge issue that we pay lots of attention to. To keep it simple, we reuse. For example, if I have a bag that I take things out of, I won't throw that away. I'll put it away until I need another bag, and I'll use that bag again. Or we recycle. So we take our liquid waste and we clean it, and then we turn it back into good drinking water. And then things that we cannot reuse or recycle, then we get rid of. We trash, and we generally jettison things or get rid of them in a spacecraft that is going to then burn up on entry and dispose of it that way. It will incinerate in the atmosphere before hitting the ground, and that's how we get rid of trash.
Hello, my name is Xavier Woods, and I live in Houston, Texas. And as a gardener, my question is if y'all will ever see a future for making a garden on the moon or Mars.
Great question, and I see you were sitting in front of a garden, and so I definitely think those skills are very valuable. We have plant and growing experiments here on the International Space Station, and I think it is absolutely important that we figure out how to have a garden or gardens on the moon and on Mars, and I think NASA is very interested in making sure that we know how to do that when the time comes.
Hi, my name is Jack, and my cousin is a PACOM. My question is, what do you do in your free time in space?
Oh, that's a really good question. Our free time, our downtime, our weekends are very important. And so, one, we rest. The other thing is you do the things that help you to recharge. I really enjoy reading the news and reading books. And that's also when I have time to call or have a video conference with my family. And then if I could, I would work out even more. We get plenty of time every day to work out, and I really enjoy working out as well. So those are some of the options of things that we get to do with our free time, but there are lots of other things. If you ask a different crew member, you'd get several other answers.
Hi, my name is Riley. I go to school in Alabama. My question is, how do you sleep on the space station?
I sleep very well on the space station. So we have sleeping bags that we tie to the wall, and really that sleeping bag is to keep you from floating away mainly. And then inside that sleeping bag there are straps that we can use to tighten them up on ourselves if we want to. There's a compartment where we can stick our head inside, and then there are lots of flaps that you can open up to stick your arms out to let more air in. So it's very versatile. It's a very modular, versatile system, and I find it very comfortable. I leave mine very loose so that I just float in the middle of my crew quarters, and I sleep very comfortably.
Hi, my name is Ira Newton. I'm from Huntsville, Alabama. My aunt is an engineer at NASA. My question is, are you able to do fun things or hobbies while living on the space station?
That's a great question. I think this entire mission is a fun thing, but aside from the work, I mentioned earlier growing plants. Some of our crewmates enjoy doing that in their spare time, and so that's actually a hobby. But we actually have plenty of fun up here. We've played cards. We actually made a video. If you're familiar with the mannequin challenge that was popular on the internet a couple of years ago, we all held very still as we moved a camera through to make it look like we weren't moving. And so that was, just something that we decided to do for fun, to share with our family and friends. But we have plenty of fun up here. And we also like to have big meals together with the entire crew, all 7 of us. And that is another thing that we enjoy doing in our downtime.
Hi, my name is Aspen, and I'm the daughter of Paycom Penny Pettigrew, who works at Marshall Space Flight Center. A couple years ago, my science club did a rock candy experiment with astronaut Scott Tingle, and it was a lot of fun. So I was wondering, what was your favorite science experiment that you've done on the ISS?
Yeah, thank you for asking, Aspen. My favorite experiment, I love to eat. I love to work out, and I also love to eat. My favorite experiment is actually one that involves food. It's the food physiology experiment, where it's looking at how to get more nutrients, macronutrients into the crew members to see how it affects their gut health as well as their immune system, and also how it affects us just based on our well-being. I love the food. It's a great variety, more fish, nuts, and seeds and fruit. And so that's my favorite experiment. But we have so many experiments going on up here, and they're all great.
Hi, my name is Jacob Meggs, and my mom, Lori, she is a Paycom. My question to you is, how do you eat your food? Do you just squeeze it out of a tube and or do you sit at a table and eat it?
That is a great question, and I just happen to have some of our food right here. And so some of the food requires us to add water to it, and we wait for it to solidify or to rehydrate, and then we warm it up if we need to, and then we eat it. You can cut it open and eat it with a spoon. Some of our foods are already moist and ready to go, and we just warm them up, again, if they need it. But sometimes when they're in a package like this, we just cut the corner off and eat it right out of the package. And then we also drink our drinks, most of our drinks, not all of our drinks. We have some really interesting cups up here that allow us to drink from a very neat space cup, but most of our drinks we drink from a bag, and so we kind of float around our table, hooking our feet into the ground like I am now, holding onto a handrail so that we can stay next to the table as we eat our meals.
Hi, my name is William. My grandfather works at NASA, and my question
Dreaming in space is actually very similar to dreaming on Earth. I would say the biggest difference is when you wake up. When I wake up, I'm still floating. I love having dreams about flying, but I can actually fly here on the space station, and so when I wake up, it's almost like I'm continuing to dream. So that's the biggest difference.
Hi, my name is Rachel, and my mom is a payload rack officer at Marshall Space Flight Center. My question is that since humans shed skin cells and hair particles naturally, and there's always going to be dirt in the air and everything, how does that affect the ventilation system on the ISS as a whole? Or do you have a specific function that prevents it from entering the air ducts at all? And if so, how does that work, or what is it?
Yeah, that's a really great question. We actually spend a lot of time cleaning up here. About a third of our time is maintenance and upkeep of the space station, and so we spend a lot of time cleaning. Every weekend we clean, and one of the things that we focus on is getting all of the dust, hair, and little particles of everything off of the filters. We have HEPA filters up here. The space station is actually quite clean. It's actually cleaner than most normal houses, and so it's because we're very isolated. And so we keep the space station pretty clean, and then we have ventilation system parts that allow the dust and things floating in the air to be caught on those filters, and then we vacuum up those pieces. And so you're right. Clothing and skin sheds, but we generally do a good job of getting that stuff up with the vacuum.
Hi, my name is Grace, and my auntie was a certified payload operations director with PMOD. My question is, do you get to play any games in space?
You know, we played a card game up here, and we've made some really neat, fun videos, time lapses, so you could see what we do in a few hours in just a few seconds, and those are great fun. So something that I've turned into a game, we do a lot of moving things around and having to fit lots of things into a small space, and it reminds me of a video game, if you're familiar with the game Tetris, and so I call it Space Tetris, and so I try to make it into a game because we have to do lots of packing and stowage operations up here. But we get to play games when we have time.
Hi, my name is Mary Kessler Holcomb, and I attend Briarwood School in Alabama, and my question is, how old is the International Space Station?
That is a really good question. The International Space Station is about 21 years old. The first pieces flew up in 1998. And humans have been on board the space station since November of 2000, and so it has been up here for quite a while. If it was a person, it would be an adult, and it would have been an adult for 3 years.
Hi, my name is Annalise Rush, and I go to school at Heritage Elementary in Alabama. My question is, what is it like in space?
Wow, it's great. And you know, that last question, I may have said 21 years. It's almost 23 years. What is it like in space? Well, it's a really amazing place. Since we're in microgravity, you know, things float. We're 250 miles up, so when we look out the window, we can see large parts of the Earth, whole countries and entire bodies of water. And we also have all kinds of science and technology up here that allows us to work out, that allows us to keep our atmosphere clean and breathable and comfortable, and also allows us to do lots of neat experiments. It's really amazing up here. I wish you could come up and check it out for yourself.
Thank you for taking our questions.
It's been a memorable experience for all of us here at POIC.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you, and congratulations, Marshall Space Flight Center and the POIC, on this 20 years of helping us to utilize the space station and do amazing science. Take care.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Always great to hear kids' voices on the loops.